to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Oh, yeah, it's the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. My name is Florentino Buenaventura. I'm your show host. And like always, we have a phenomenal day planned for you all. So make sure you stay tuned through the whole thing because this is going to be a great guest. But before we jump into that, I'd like to say thanks to all of our sponsors. We've got Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They are the best place to get gear. They just want you to play it loud, and that's at pitbullaudio.com. And, of course, California Music Studios, where they connect teachers with students. And that's a big thing because right now it's not always easy to get that musical education in our public schools. So California Music Studios has all the best teachers. They have the strenuous process to find those teachers that will provide your kids, or you for that matter, a great teacher. So, and then of course SIR at SIR Music Equipment Rental, where if you go out on tour or if you're a corporation that needs any type of audio video, they are the company to go to. And we have a very longtime friend of mine who I've known since the 80s. I'm aging us, man. Mr. Aaron A-Train Smith. Are you there, sir?
How you doing, man?
Good. It's been a long time, brother, since the last time we talked.
Yeah, Sacramento?
Yeah, it's going all the way back to Sacramento, and I was just a little young pup going to see the shows with the 77s and stuff like that, and just going, man, someday I want to do that.
Yeah, that's what I said when I saw Ringo Starr.
Oh man, well how you been?
I want to do that.
How you been, man? It's been a long time. You're in Nashville now, right?
Yeah, I've been here since '96. I'm doing all right. Still playing. I had a gig last night, actually, and got another one tonight.
Oh, man.
And playing at church tomorrow.
Wow. Still making it happen. Just, the A-Train. Just plowing on through. Well, that's awesome, sir. Well, you know what? It's kind of funny. I've been telling the story lately. When I first met you, and you're such a sweet, humble guy. I never knew your back history. I knew all the early stuff because this is the '80s, and Romeo Void, the 77s were all just that was what we were into, man. And you go out and you hear about that, and I'd seen you play, and you're one of the first people that I knew that was a recording artist that I had met, and it was just, and you were such a sweet, humble guy back then. You and Jan Voles, man, really treated me really well. When talking to you, and I know that 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids can be kind of annoying at times, especially asking you a bunch of questions. So, like, how do you do that? What do you do? Little like the little dog that's jumping around the pit bull, bouncing around asking questions. So, but I never knew you played with the Temptations back then. I didn't realize how influential you are in music, and I've seen some of the posts. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you've gotten probably one of the biggest responses on Facebook from people chiming in, reposting, sharing. We usually get good responses.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it was huge. I was exceptionally impressed by that. You have a big support community out there. That I just wanted to let you know. Because we post on all the music groups and everything, and then just everyone's been coming out of the woodworks. And
cool.
For the folks that don't know, Aaron has been pretty much a huge influence on the drum stuff today, especially with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. You were the drummer for that project.
Yeah.
And
That was let's see, it wasn't the first thing I did at Motown, but it was a close second. And it was just great, because I just went into the studio, and you never knew what you were going to do. And Norman Whitfield, who wrote and produced that, had a certain way of doing his sessions. You'd come in, and everybody would go down into the pit and get ready to play. It was the same drum set all the time. They never moved that stuff or changed any heads or anything like that.
That's crazy.
So you just bring in your sticks and go sit down, and then he would come over to the drums first and dance in front of you and
okay.
and tell you how he wanted it to go.
Okay.
And
that's awesome.
And then once you got that feeling that he wanted, which is pretty easy to get because he's literally dancing in front of you. Then he'd walk over to the bass and hum the bass part to the bass player. When he got that, he'd go over to the guitar players and play air guitar and, give them some idea of what was happening. And then when he was satisfied, because there were a lot of guitar players in there for that set. I think it was about 6 guitar players.
Wow. Everybody all playing at once, I'm assuming, then. Back then, that's how
everybody played at once, yeah. And so the final you get is the way they mixed it, They mixed certain guitar players in and out.
Were they doing that live at that time, or did they I guess I would imagine that at that point multi-tracking was still only maybe about 4 or 8 tracks at the most. So I would imagine they probably mixed everything right then.
Yeah, they when they went in to do the final mix, that's when they started mixing people in and out. But yeah, I mean it was a pretty laborious task there because it's all manual.
Yeah.
And then
pretty
once
awesome
you
stuff.
get it, I
said pretty awesome stuff though, man.
Yeah. Then once you get it, you take a breakfast break, and he already knew what everybody liked, so you go out in the lobby and the food would be waiting, and you eat and chatter, and then he kind of go, okay, let's do it, and then you go back in the studio and record and go home.
Man, now, so how there was I seen the Temptations movie. I probably wasn't even close to being exactly right, but I just still could imagine with that particular track, and you're playing for so long before any vocal comes in for a band that's known as being a vocal group. What was everybody's thoughts in the studio at that particular point? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, FM radio had just come about, and prior to that, song lengths were a length of a song was limited to like 2 minutes, to get it on the radio. But once FM came about, I mean, everybody was doing these long tracks, Led Zeppelin, Mott the Hoople, everybody, was doing these extensive long tracks. And so Norman was into that. Norman was into Sly and the Family Stone, Zeppelin, and stuff.
That's awesome.
He was like the rocker at Motown.
Yeah.
And he kind of blended the two, the rock and the R&B, and so that's where his head was at. Creating this very long mega tune to be played on FM radio. And because even on AM radio, they spliced it up enough to get the whole song in it. But for FM, man, it was epic. It was like a drama unfolding.
Yeah. I can only imagine, and that track definitely went down as one of the greatest drum performances of all time because you were just nailing that groove for so long. You used the hi-hats and that thing. Man. I know you're like, whew, you had to take you definitely had to take a break after that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but if you take a good listen to it, you'll notice that it changes kind of halfway through.
Huh? You feel it so much that you don't notice that.
Yeah, because from the beginning, like the bass drum is on 2 and 4, and halfway through the track, it changes to 1 and 3.
Huh. Okay. Was there a purpose behind that, or did you just felt like changing it?
You know, I don't remember. I just remember stopping, and then when I came back in, I just played it differently.
Huh.
I just think it was, you know, I was unaware of it, and I guess everybody else was too, and it didn't make that much of a difference. It just kind of shifted the emphasis a little bit rhythmically.
Wow, that's great. You know, that's the kind of stuff that our listeners like to hear about, because these are all people in the business or aspiring to be in the business, so they definitely want to know, you know, what those those moments were going through the heads of artists such as yourself. We've got about 30 seconds left in this particular segment. Okay. Now, how can people, you know, listen to you? Have a website and all that fun stuff?
No, I don't. I just have my Facebook page.
Your Facebook page, Aaron Smith. Yeah. Look him up, A-Train, because, you know, he's got all kinds of great things. You do a lot of curating of some of the, you know, the great music of all time, and that's what's been inspiring me. That's why I had to reach out to you, and you know, it's like, wow, Aaron's doing so much cool stuff, and we got to talk. Now, stay tuned. We're going to be taking a commercial break right now. This has been the Changing Stage Radio Show with Aaron A-Train Smith. Take over. We will be right back. Thanks to SIR Equipment Rental for just being there to support us, and we appreciate y'all. I know Aaron's used them probably many times when he's on tour. We'll be right back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. The Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand, because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are into the second segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. California Music Studios, you guys are awesome. Jennifer and your crew, you make sure that the students get connected to the right teachers, like our friend Tim Norton from The Moves, who is an incredible talent around San Diego. But you cover all of Southern California. So if you're in Southern California, look him up at californiamusicstudios.com. And we've had Aaron A-Train Smith take over here at the WS Radio for the Changing Stage today, and he was just telling us about one of the most iconic drum parts ever played, and one of the great session with magnificent producer Norman Whitfield. And Aaron, I wanted to kind of start from the beginning with you on this particular segment.
Okay.
How'd you get into music? What was the passion that sparks that you had to be this drummer percussionist? That I'd have to say you've probably been the most all over the map drummer that I've ever met, man. You've played everything. And a lot of drummers say they play everything, but you literally have played everything. So let's start from the beginning, man.
Well, let's see. I first started playing drums in junior high school, and I was a pretty shy kid, introverted. I didn't have any sisters and brothers or anything, so I don't know. I just did it, and it was something I loved to do, and I was good at it, and my band director made me the drum captain.
Oh wow!
And my band director in junior high school and my band director in high school both played in an R&B band in my hometown. So once I got out of junior high into high school and I was old enough, about 16, a young 16, my high school band director convinced my mom to buy me a drum set so that I could play in their band. They had a drummer, but I don't know why they wanted another drummer. I never asked. So until my drum set got there, I played all the songs that the other drummer didn't like.
Okay. I guess that works.
His name is Peter Joyner. He went on to play with, what's his name? A Motown artist, saxophone player whose name I can't think of now, had big hits. Anyway, I played all the songs he didn't like, and when he wanted to play, he'd just come up stage and say, "Okay, Smith, that's it," and that would be my playing for the night. And the rest of it, at the end of the night, I would tear down the drums and help tear down the gear, put it in the van, and the road manager would take me home. But after that, sometime after that, Peter decided to move to Detroit. Junior Walker, that's who it is. Junior Walker and All-Stars. He moved to Detroit and started playing with Junior Walker. And so then I was the only drummer in the band. And then I went off to college down at Clark College in Atlanta. I came home for my first year, and there were so many musicians in my hometown. Chuck Jackson from Motown, a Motown artist, he had a big hit called Any Day Now.
Yeah,
his entire band lived in my hometown, and they were all friends of mine. We all went to the same high school. And they were looking for a drummer. So I got that gig, and that got me to Detroit. And we played the 20 Grand Hotel and Lounge with Chuck Jackson in Detroit, and that's when Norman Whitfield came to the show, and that's when I met him. and he asked me if I would like to come and live in Detroit and come up there and play in this band that he had, this group he had called the Undisputed Truth. So they're not together yet. We're writing music for them, but I'd like for you to come up here and be their drummer. And I said, sure, that'd be great. So he said, okay, I'll give you a call, when we're ready, and I'll send for you, and you come on up. But I got drafted before he called me.
Oh, wow.
So I went in the Army for a couple of months. I got out on a medical discharge because I was allergic to the detergents that they use to wash the clothing.
Wow.
And I came back home, got back in the Chuck's band, worked my way back to Detroit, and Norman came to the show again, and he's kind of like, man, where have you been? So I told him the whole story. See, that there were no cell phones back in those days,
No.
so just landline and phone booths. So, communication was a little more difficult, a little harder.
I know some of our listeners are going, what's a phone booth?
Yeah, what's a phone booth? And it only cost a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it stayed that way for a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so once I moved up there, Norman just hired me for all his stuff, I did 3 Temptation albums, 2 Undisputed Truth albums. I played one song on Eddie Kendrick's Boogie Down album.
Oh, wow.
I played on David Ruffin's solo album, Me and Rock and Roll Are Here to Stay. And and then one day, and then I toured with the Undisputed Truth. In the summer of 1972, we opened for the Jackson 5 for the whole summer around the United States, and came back from that tour.
I seen that concert. You guys, I went to the Jackson concert in Sacramento over at Hughes Stadium. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, they kind of all
blend together,
run together.
I went to that tour, man.
You were there?
I went. Yeah, that's my first time going to a concert. My family took me to see the Jacksons. That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
That's how far we go back, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That was a hard tour.
I was like maybe 7, 8, something like that. It was crazy. Yeah, that was good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just had a big flashback memory, and I didn't realize. You never know. Sometimes when you meet somebody, you never know how much they've been in your life. So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Continue on. We're on the Jacksons tour.
Okay, so that was a pretty hard tour because we were driving, and the Jackson 5 crew would take our equipment in their truck, and sometimes we had to literally leave the stage, get in the station wagon, and drive to the next city because it was so far away. So it was pretty rough. So after that tour, the Undisputed Truth did some solo dates, and we came back to Detroit, and there was nothing happening. And my roommate was a piano player, and one Saturday morning, we were sleeping in, as musicians often do, and somebody's knocking on the door, and nobody wants to get up and answer the door, but Jacob, my roommate, finally gets up, and it's his mother, and she comes in and she's yelling at us for sleeping in and telling us if we don't we don't stop playing that music and hanging out in clubs, we're going to hell.
Oh, wow.
And she said, "You boys should get a job, get a real job, and make something of yourself." So, we respected her, and we did. We went out and got a newspaper that evening, and Jacob found a job as a security guard, and I found a job at a carpet company. They made carpet, they laid carpet, and for some reason they wanted to hire people, but do it secretively. And they had classes. They had classes upstairs in the warehouse on carpet, fibers and cutting it and how you lay it and stuff like that. But you couldn't tell anybody. I don't know why it was a secret. Anyway, so I thought my future was going to be in laying carpet at that time. And one afternoon, it was a 6-week class. Yeah, it was a 6-week class, and like 2 days before the end of the course, I came home from work, and there was a big piece of paper on the dining room table, and in big letters, it said, "Call Cornelius Grant." Now, Cornelius Grant, I mean, we all knew who that was. He was like the sixth temptation, you know?
Yeah.
It just so happens that day Jacob was homesick from work, and he answered the phone, you know? Had he not been home, I don't know if Cornelius would have called me back or not. Maybe he would have, but it just so happens that Jacob was home and left this message, and I called Cornelius, and he gave me the rundown. He said, well, the Temps need a new drummer. He said, I went over to Hitsville and looked on the roster list, and you're the only drummer on that list that I haven't worked with, so you want to come over here and audition?
Oh, wow.
So I said,
hey, Aaron, let's leave it at that because we're having to take that commercial break, man.
Okay.
We are up to the time that he was about ready to audition for the Temptations Motown Greats. This has been the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks with Aaron A. Train Smith. Take over for today. We'll be right back and want to give a special thanks to Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com. information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back on the third segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. And I want to give a special thanks to SIR at SIR-USA.com. And these guys have been providing gear since you've been doing it, Aaron, since the 70s. And they probably provided gear for you on tour many times.
Yes.
Yes.
I know had a lot of rehearsals at SIR.
Yeah, they're all over. There's this huge company. We appreciate them being a sponsor here. And we were just talking to you, and you just gotten your gig, audition with the Temptations. Yeah. But before we get into that, I was talking to my producer, and we were talking about the iconic track you did with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And if you didn't get that call that you talked about in that in the last segment, and that call didn't come through, and you didn't do that track, and we wouldn't have had all the Barry White stuff that came out later on, and the Isaac Hayes stuff. A lot of people would not have been born, man, if it wasn't for you, brother. My producer Paul Berezeski came out with that. He said this world would just not be the same if you missed that call. And this was the days where no answer machines really or anything like that. Yeah. If your buddy happened to be in the bathroom at that particular moment, you didn't get that call, the world would have changed. And that's just kind
Who knows what would have happened.
So
but, it's all providential.
It is. Well, both of us have. That's kind of how we got connected, was music for the Lord. So I definitely believe there's a reason and purpose for everything. So
yes, He opened all the doors.
Yes, he does, sir.
And it made it happen.
I definitely want to touch base on how that kind of all came about, that musical, adventure that you started going in that direction. But let's kind of continue on with where you last left off. You were getting the call from the Temps.
Yeah. So I had to verify the message, and he said, "Yeah, man, Cornelius Grant called you. You should call him back." And so I called him back, and Cornelius told me the story about how he got my name, and asked me if I could come over to his house and audition. I said, sure thing. I threw my drums in the car, went over there, and set up in his basement. And he had a reel-to-reel tape player, recorder, and he had the show on there, and he had a music stand, and he put the show book, up on the music stand, and the tunes were in order. And he said, "Well, okay, let's see you read through the show as much as you can." So I said, "Okay." Fortunately for me, I knew all those tunes already, and I knew the show already because I had played with a group of guys in my hometown who were like the Imitating Temptations, and we memorized their show, and we played talent shows and stuff. So I kind of pretended to be reading the charts.
I've heard that story before from other couple of players, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I spent a week going back every day in Cornelius's basement, going over the charts. I didn't go back to the Carpet Place, and my first gig was in Toronto. I hadn't met anybody else but Cornelius, and so we fly from from Detroit to Toronto, and we're going to play in this outdoor arena. And we set up in this very windy day, and charts are being blown all over the field, and the music stands won't stay up, and so I'm nervous. I'm freaking out because it's the Temptations.
Yeah,
and it's my first show, and so I'm like scared to death. And So we tried to get through the rehearsal as well as we could with the weather the way it was, and I come off the stage and I go into the dressing room, and there's this group of fellas there, and we speak and say, how you doing? Oh, good. You guys are here to play? Oh, yeah, we're here. I think we're going up there now to play. And so they walk out, and I turn to my bass player, and I go, you know those guys. Who are they? He says, they're a group called Earth, Wind, and Fire. I had never heard of them. I said, are they good? He said, yeah, they're all right. They play. The music is good, but they jump around stage and, act goofy and stuff. Because nobody was doing that then. It was a very formal sort of music presentation, especially if you were working with Motown.
Yeah.
And so I go back to the hotel, and I'm so nervous that I got to go to sleep. I just got to take a nap. So I make the room dark, and I get in bed, and I fall asleep, and the phone starts to ring. It wakes me up. I answer the phone, and it's the road manager saying the show is canceled because it's raining outside. And I say, hold on, and I go over to the window, and sure enough, man, it's raining hard, and it's like thunder and lightning, and I am so grateful. So grateful. It's like made my whole day. But the next day we leave Toronto and we go to New York and we play the Apollo Theater for 2 weeks. And by the time I come out of there, I could play the show in my sleep.
Yeah, backwards and forwards.
Because it's like 4 shows a day.
Yeah.
And on the weekends it's 5.
Wow.
And so yeah, I had it down after that.
That's pretty amazing, man. Yeah, it's just crazy, and I can only imagine, what it would be like just to, sit down with. I'm a bass player now. I don't know if you knew that, but that's what I've kind of grown into, bass player, producer, and
cool.
Yeah, and so obviously James Jamerson is a hero icon for me, and I to play with him and to be his, the foundation for his bass lines just gives me chills, brother.
Yeah. James is a great player, man. Kind of a tortured soul, but great player. For that time, the times that James and the Funk Brothers came up in, because I was a kid, I was like 21 years old, and they were all much older than me, and they just, they had a camaraderie where they had been in Detroit together for years. Yeah. Some of them had even gone to the same high schools, lived in the same neighborhoods, and so life was kind of rough for them for a while, until Barry Gordy kind of reeled them all in. But things have been set in motion by that time, and James. Sometimes I wondered how he got through a session.
Wow.
But he was a great player, and he was a very nice guy, very talkative, and very encouraging. They were all very encouraging.
And obviously his playing was so instrumental in how almost any genre of music plays now. It influenced everybody, because at that point, the movement, the articulation, the fluidity that he had, is just completely inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
So
I once went out to Carol Kay's house and
another
sat down and had
bass player.
Had a really great conversation with her about that whole thing, about Motown and bass players. Because when Motown was moving to L.A., they started using players out in L.A. Making
some
that
of the
transition.
Wrecking Crew. Some of the folks from the Wrecking Crew?
Yeah, it was Carol and some other people. I'm not sure if it was the whole crew or not, but definitely Carol, says that she questions certain musicologists that say that she wasn't on certain Motown records and stuff like that. But I think she was. I'm pretty sure she was, but I don't know which ones she did.
Yeah.
But, that kind of made it hard for the Detroit guys, the Funk Brothers, because Motown moved out to L.A., and so they followed. I even followed. I moved to L.A., because there wasn't anything to do in Detroit.
That was it.
Norman moved to L.A., and so, and I was working with the Temps, so it afforded me to, the ability to move and get a place there, and those guys, a lot of those guys got there from Detroit and couldn't pay to get hired.
Wow.
It was the weirdest thing. It's very strange.
And it was just, and they made the sound that we now enjoy in multiple types of genres and stuff like that. We got about 30 seconds left in this segment. It goes quick, doesn't it, man? It does go quick. I'm just enjoying all this fun conversation. I know that our listeners are as well. Just want to, thank all the folks that have been supporting us and all the people that came out for you. Hopefully they're going to post on there, that they've got a chance to listen to this and hear some of your history. Friends of yours that didn't really realize some of the stuff you've done. We will be finishing up in this next segment some of the other things that your immense history. I mean, we could talk for days about your time with Motown and the Temptations, for sure. Yeah. This has been the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. And I want to again say thanks to Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. Go there, check it out. If you're here in San Diego, go down to National City, check them out. They are definitely the top-notch store online for music gear. We'll be right back in a few short minutes for the final segment of the Changing Stage radio show.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Whichwich.com.
To me. information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
That is right. This is the Changing Stage radio show's fourth segment. My name is Florentino Buenaventura. I know that because I heard the announcer just say that right now. And we've been here with Aaron A-Train Smith take over. And big thanks to our fun folks over at SIR-USA.com or SIR. Music equipment rental, we've been talking to you a lot about the times with the Temptations. Your start here, you've played with so many people. Ray Charles. You were on tour with I can never really say this right, but hopefully Miroslav's orchestra. You've
Miroslav Vitus.
Oh, okay. So see, hey, I knew I couldn't say it right. And you've went on to play with all kinds of other folks as well. You created your own band, Peterbilt, and then for me, I really found out about you when you were playing with Romeo Void, because that's like one of my favorite new wave bands in the '80s. I just remember seeing people were posting it, your time on American Bandstand when Dick Clark gave you the the drummer shout out, and how that's why I mentioned, man, you've played with everything. Your orchestra, you've been with Ray Charles, Romeo Void, very cutting edge, unique sounding group, a rock band, a new wave rock band with a saxophone. Was this passion for all styles of music early on, or is this something that you kind of developed through that process?
Well, when I started playing drums, you didn't specialize in anything. If you wanted to work, you kind of had to dabble in everything. But while I was with the Temptations, I got into Billy Cobham, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke. Got into that stuff,
Oh, wow.
Wawa Watson used to be my roommate in Detroit, and he moved out to L.A., and he started playing with Herbie Hancock and people like that. And he introduced me to Herbie. I actually auditioned for Herbie once. Didn't get the gig, but, I got to meet Herbie and the rest of the guys. And
wow.
That led to me playing with Miroslav, because they introduced me to Miroslav. And Miroslav and I spent 2 weeks in Herbie Hancock's studio rehearsing, just me and him. We just started playing and play for hours, and then come out and catch a breath, go back in and play more, because he had that double neck guitar. One the bass is on top and the guitar was on the bottom, so he'd play a bass line for a while, and then he'd do his Mahavishnu thing on the guitar. It was crazy.
Wow.
I was into that, and then Miroslav suggested, when that band was over, he suggested that I go to Boston and study with Alan Dawson, which I did. I studied there with Alan for 2 years, and then right after the blizzard of 1979, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who, Miroslav, when I did the Miroslav gig, because he wanted to play bass and guitar, we needed another bass player. So I recommended a homeboy friend of mine, Al Key, to be the bass player. At the time, Al was playing bass for the Staple Singers, and he moved from Chicago out to California, and we rehearsed, and we spent the 6 months together. He went to Sacramento, and I went to Boston, and he met Roger Smith in Sacramento. And
playing with Tower Power now,
yeah, he's playing with Tower Power now.
A friend of mine that's played on a few tracks that I've produced. So great
cool.
talent.
Yeah, and so he called me and said, "We want to put together a band, and we need you to come out." And so I did. I went out to Sacramento, and we had a band called Thunder Wonder. And we played clubs around Sacramento and up in Reno, and that I got burnt out on that, and I decided to go back to school. So I went back to North Carolina and spent a semester at the North Carolina School of the Arts in Winston-Salem, and I didn't like it there. So it's all providential. God put me in all these different situations. It's not like I was looking for it. There just seemed to always be something around the corner.
Exactly. He always leads you to the right place, for sure.
Yeah, and I got a phone call from Peterbilt. Peter had played with Pearl Harbor and the Explosions, and I had met Peter while I was in Sacramento the first time. He wanted to put together a band with me and Charlie Peacock and some other guys.
And Charlie's over there in Nashville with you right now.
Yeah. He wanted to do a big show band, like playing oldie but goodies, and that sort of thing. And I really wasn't interested in that. And so he calls me and he goes, he's got this producer, David Kahn, who wants him to put together a band. So I say, okay, I'll come. So they sent me the money to come, and went to San Francisco, and we put together a 3-piece funk rock band called Peterbilt. It was a great band, but it never took off. We had so much. We had great talent. We had people who liked us, people in high places that liked us. We had studio time. We had a great producer who was giving us all his studio time that he had, garnered over the years from various studios. David Rubinson liked us. He had a studio, but it just never happened.
Yeah, David Kahn was a huge player in the business. I think he went on to get either the Bengals or the well, I can't remember which group, but he did a lot of work.
Well, he produced Instincts by Romeo Void.
Oh yes,
and that's how I got in Romeo Void. David suggested me for that gig, and we did Instincts and toured Instincts for about a year. And while I was in Romeo Void, I got a phone call because Charlie had started going to Warehouse.
Yeah,
and all those guys there, 77s, Peacock, Vector, Steve Scott, and all those guys were making records up there. And Charlie was in Vector.
Yeah.
And Vector had started to do a record, and Steve Griffith, the bass player, plays drums too, and he was going to play drums and then put down his bass parts. And so they tried that for a couple of takes, and it wasn't working. Charlie recommended that they call me. I came up to Sacramento, did Mannequin Virtue, and that's when I met the 77.
Yeah, with Jan Voles and those guys, and that's when I started meeting you over at the Warehouse. Yeah.
Yeah, simultaneously I was doing that and in Romeo Void. So when Romeo Void was really going, right after that tour, I got a call from Warehouse they needed a drummer for the 77 to go to Prestatyn, Wales, to play this Spring Harvest Festival for 2 weeks. So I went up there and practiced with the Sevens, and we did some gigs around Sacramento area, and then we went to Prestatyn. And
hey, Aaron, man, I'm heartbroken right now. It's coming on the hour time. Yeah, I know we're so deep into it. I'm gonna have to have you come back. We're gonna have to have Aaron Smith A-Train Takeover part 2, man, because this is just too much. This is too good, bro. We're after this, we'll reschedule another time because we got the next show coming up here, man. This has been the Changing Stage radio show. I've been enthralled. I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl right now because Aaron is just bringing back memories as well as illuminating such an amazing career. Make sure you listen for the B side of this because we've got more to talk about at some point in time. We'll coordinate for you. Again, thanks to all our sponsors. We'll be right back next week.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and you know, Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Welcome back to the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. And we are brought to you by SIR Music Equipment Rental. You can reach them at sir-usa.com. And if you want to get gear when you go on the road, these are the guys that you want to use because they do it for everybody. As well as if you're a corporation that needs a little audio or a little video, they can take care of that for you as well. And our friends over at Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com, they provide all the gear for the people who want to own it and bring it home, as well as they just want you to play it loud over there at pitbullaudio.com. And the California Music Studios, who've always supported us in everything that we do, they connect the teachers with the students all over Southern California, and they have the most stringent process to find the right teachers to help your kids, or you for that matter, become the next great artist. Like we have today, we have our Aaron Smith, A-Train, take over. Aaron, you there, sir?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Drummer extraordinaire. We had a great interview last week, and this is my first back-to-back, 2-segment one, man, because we barely made it to the 80s. Yeah, we barely made it to the 80s with you, brother. So we made it to the 80s. We got 30 years left to cover. I don't even know if an hour is going to cover that.
Here we go.
So I just want to recap a little bit about what we talked about last week. We talked about your time with the Temptations and what it was to be like on tour. Discovering the folks who made Let's Groove with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Playing with Norman Whitfield. The fact that Led Zeppelin's length of songs influenced Papa Was a Rolling Stone along with FM radio. All powerful stuff, man. And I was just enthralled by that, and I'm ready to be enthralled today. So, I think the last thing we left off was when you started after your funk group. You started playing with our folks Romeo Void, and tell us, man. From that point, you were in San Francisco. How did you end up in Sacramento from all those all the traveling from Detroit and all that?
Well, first time I ended up in Sacramento was because a friend of mine, Al Key, called for me, wanting to know if I would come out and join this band, and I went, and then I stayed there for about 9 months, and I left, and I eventually came back to San Francisco. And the first time I was in Sacramento, I met Charlie Peacock.
Yeah, Charlie's amazing.
And I played with him quite a bit. Yeah, and so while I was in San Francisco, right around the time I was with Romeo Void was just about to start for me. Charlie had the people at Warehouse Ministries give me a call because he was they were doing a record for Vector.
Yeah.
And they needed a drummer for that project. And that's when I went back up to Sacramento, but I was commuting back and forth from Sacramento to San Francisco. And then the Romeo Void thing took off, and after Romeo, actually, when I left San Francisco to go start touring with Romeo Void, I actually moved to Sacramento because I knew that after that tour, that's where I was going to live.
Yeah. Now, just a question, kind of a side note on Romeo Void. Did you guys do a reunion not too long ago? I thought there was something, or maybe from a TV show, VH1 TV show.
Well, yeah, we did Bands Reunited.
Yeah.
That was, man, how many years ago was that? That was about, that was some years ago, about 5 years ago, when that program first started. We were one of the first groups.
Yeah, I remember seeing
that show.
That was a fun show.
Yeah.
I wish they would do more of that. That was a fun show. I don't know why they don't do that. You guys were great, man. I mean, I remember seeing that, and I, to this day, one of my favorite new wave bands.
Yeah, that was a fun band. I wish it had been longer lived, but
Yeah, that's how bands go sometimes, man.
Relationships.
Yeah, well, it was a crazy time. The 80s, I think, was, kind of the height of when, I think everything kind of, came up to be huge. Everything was huge. The hair of the ladies was huge, even the guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Larger
hair
than
was huge, synthesizers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The more out there you look, the better.
Now,
it's all about image,
Yeah, definitely. The 80s was all about image. That was that was the key. And then the 90s rolled around, and then it's just all about just being, kind of street clothes. The whole grunge look was like, don't be corporate.
Yeah.
Don't try to, don't try to pretend that you're a rock star, even though you're pretending not to be a rock star.
Rock star, yeah. So, MTV had a lot to drove that too, because of just the image thing portrayed in the videos,
Now, do you think that I always heard rumors? Do you think that was one of the things that kind of hindered Romeo Void with Deborah? Is that the lead singer's name?
Deborah?
Yeah, Deborah. Yeah, she amazing singer, great vocals, but you know, she wasn't the rail thin girl that you'd see the Madonnas of the world. You know, had to be Twiggy size.
Yeah, that was an issue for sure.
Yeah,
because
she was
it was an issue at the it was an issue at the record company, and it was an issue with some of the guys in the band. You know, who you know, everybody wanted to be more successful, of course, and seemed like everything was working except that, and there were some other relationship problems, you know, that had developed over the years, you know, with rock and roll and drinking.
Crazy times. Now,
yeah,
that's kind of interesting. I would like to kind of touch on that a little bit because, you know, we're both believers in the Lord, and you know, and His you know, will in our lives and stuff like that. Were you, at that time going back and forth? Because Warehouse Ministries was a church in Sacramento. That's how I discovered them. I would go to church there, and you know, what was that like living in both those worlds?
It was kind of crazy because, you know, I had just become a believer, and you know, I was reading a lot, and so I was just coming to know Christ, and being in the other world, you know, with the rock bands and you know, playing clubs. I mean, right after I became a believer, you know, I was like in the midst of the rock and roll scene. You know, we went on tour with Romeo Void, and we played all these great rooms, and we went to Europe and played the great rooms over there, you know,
yeah, and you were touring on the song, you know, Might Like You Better If We Slept Together, so that must have been a little bit of a hard...
The tunes, you know, we had to play and all that sort of stuff. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. You know, it's like, you know, if you're a Christian, you still have to live in this world. You know, but not of it. You know, and
it's a challenge.
You know, I just appreciated being a believer at that time because, you know, had I not been, you know, it could have been very destructive for me.
Yeah, you've been strong. All I know is that you've had such a big turnout for people, you know, supporting you on you know, getting on the radio show. I just amazed. Like I said, one of the biggest turnouts we've had. I've had some great people. I've had Greg Almonds. I've had, you know, from that side, Ken Cragen, you know, huge manager. But you know, the response that I've been getting with you is just phenomenal. I think because of
really,
you know, I'm not just saying that, man. You know, you've got a huge, you know, support. People coming out, they're like, you know, I've seen people like, I didn't know that you played with Romeo Void and all this stuff. In fact, I didn't. Back when I knew you, man, I didn't know you played with the Temptations, and that was close to that time frame. That was the '80s. So, you know, you're just always a humble man, never jumping up and down about your accomplishments and everything. You know, one of those which, you know, I had to read about and didn't know was that you got your sticks over at the Hall of Fame there. I had, you know, while I was on tour with Romeo Void, this kid in New York came up after the show and asked me if he could have a drumstick, a pair of drumsticks, and if I would sign them. And I said, sure, you know. I signed them, and years later, you know, I'm at home mowing the lawn or something here in Nashville, and I got a phone call from my friend Jimmy Abag, who is up in Cleveland doing something, and he's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he goes, you know, Aaron, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm mowing the lawn. What are you doing? Why are you calling me? You know, it's not every day that Jimmy called me, and he said, you won't believe this. I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And, dude, you got a pair of sticks up here. That's
awesome. What?
From that kid.
I went, what? Yeah. And so, a couple of years after, maybe a year or so after that, I got on tour with Michael W. Smith, and we played Cleveland, and I called the museum, told them who I was, and they said, yeah, come on over, and they let me in, and I took one of my cousins with me because she lived up
Aaron,
there.
Aaron, hey, brother, we got the commercials coming up. It's been the Changing Stage radio show with Aaron A. Train Smith. Take over. We'll be right back in a few short minutes. Thank you, California Music Studios, because you guys rock. Be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back with the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, and thanks to Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud, and we are here with Aaron Smith, A-Train Takeover, and we were talking to him just a few seconds ago, or minutes ago, let me get my timetables right, about having his sticks in the Hall of Fame, right next to Ringo's, in fact.
Yeah.
So you and Ringo,
and very close to my hero Tony Williams stick.
Oh man,
it was great. Yeah, I just talked to Peter. It's Peter Lavinger. He has that collection, and he had so many sticks that he took the collection out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's trying to open a drumstick museum in New York City.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Now, was he the
got
kid?
So many sticks now.
Was he the kid that came up to you that time, or did he acquire
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
He was.
Yeah. Peter Lavinger, he called me sometime last year, and he actually sent the stick to me because I needed to sign it again.
Oh, okay.
And I signed it and sent it back to him. And,
wow. That's
yeah, he's got big plans. Big plans.
That is huge, man. It's so amazing how we were talking about our belief in God and how providence and things that come about. Like I said, who would have known back in Sacramento? I'm going to Warehouse Ministries Church and seeing you play with Charlie and 77s and talking with Jan Voles and it's just we'd be here. Over 30 years later, talking on the radio. It's crazy.
How did you get into radio?
We really have takeover from Aaron. He's going to start asking the questions. You know what? I'll give the story very simply. I'm not a professional radio person. I came in to do some consulting for the radio station, and one of the ideas I had was, the industry needs a talk radio. Because you can read about stuff all day long in Drum World or any of the magazines, Guitar Player, any of that stuff. But if you want to listen to it on your phone, you can't. And the industry needed a voice, and the owner of the station goes, "I love that idea. I think that's a great idea. We have nobody who knows the music business. You do it." I'm like, I'm not a radio show host. I never.
But now you are.
I am now, yeah. So like I said, and then it gets me to get reconnected with old friends and iconic players, and I get a chance to really kind of a little bit of a dream. Hearing stories from from people's histories and futures, in fact. So that's all good. And I wanted to kind of touch on that time frame a little bit more, because there was really, I think, what you guys were doing at Warehouse Ministries was very, it was transforming for our industry, because there was, we now hear contemporary Christian music. You see artists like Katy Perry kind of going on to becoming huge pop artists. Started in contemporary Christian music. You have bands like POD, which we have here in San Diego, very hard edge Christian music. That was not the case back then. That was, you did something like that, and that was considered actually pretty, going against the grain in a very big way. What was it like to kind of be a pioneer in this, contemporary sound of Christian music? Because at that point, it was pretty much hymns. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was. Well, see, I didn't before I met people at Warehouse Ministries. I had no idea that there was a genre called contemporary Christian music.
I don't think anybody had an idea there was at that time.
Right. And so, I remember when I first heard the 77s. I went up to Warehouse to do a record for Vector.
Yeah.
And while I was up there, I met the guys in the 77s because they all worked at the record company. And then I remember seeing videos from them playing this festival, Greenbelt in London, outside of London. And I heard all this incredible music. It's like I had just finished touring with. Well, I was still living in San Francisco at the time and playing all these rock clubs and seeing all these 80s groups. And people were pretty wild on stage, and I saw this video of the 77s, great music coming out, and I went in the room to look at the video because I heard the music from outside, and I went in the room to look at the video, and they looked like the Beach Boys. They had these Beach Boys shirts, and everybody was just standing there, standing still, and I was going, man, these guys should be moving or something. I mean, the music is great, but I don't get it. So I went back to San Francisco after I finished the record, and about a month later, I got a call from Mary Neely at Exit, and they needed a drummer to go to Prescott and Wells for 2 weeks because their drummer couldn't go. He had 5 kids, and he had a job as a printer, and he just couldn't go. And so, and the whole thing that was so funny about it was because when I went up to do the Vector record, Vector actually wanted me to join the band, but Mary said no because I wasn't a Christian at the time. So when she called me to go with the Sevens to Prestaten, I wasn't a Christian then either.
Okay.
So I go over to Press. It was the wildest thing because we did a couple of shows down in L.A. before we went to Prestaten.
Yeah.
And we get over there and we're late, because of the flights and all that sort of stuff, and we're supposed to like go on, and we literally jump out of the car and run into the building to play, and people are panicking, oh, they're here, and we go in the back room and somebody comes in and goes, okay, let's pray. and I'm saying to myself, let's what? Let's do what? and so we, everybody gets in a circle and holds hands, and everybody's taking a turn, and I'm saying to myself, what am I going to say when it comes my turn, And I'm just thinking about that, and about two people before me, this guy busts in the room and goes, okay, we got to go on. Okay. And I'll go, oh, man, that was close. So we go on and we play, and, we hear all these great lecturers during the day and at night, and we play concerts, and we hang out with kids and stuff like that, and at the time, I was really into Eastern religion, philosophy, and meditation and stuff like that. And so Ravi Zacharias was at this Spring Harvest Festival, and I was like, man, Ravi Zacharias, he's an East Indian guy, huh? Why is he a Christian?
Yeah.
And so I started listening to him, and I bought a Bible. One of the guys in the band sold me his Bible for $5. And I bought the Bible. I look on that now, and it's kind of funny, because I'm wondering, why didn't he just give it to me? But
well, you had to go. You had to earn it, brother.
Yeah, at the time I didn't think of anything of it. It's like $5, really? Okay, here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I start reading and listening to Ravi, and plus, the guys in the 77s had been talking to me, and we'd have these discussions about God and Christ. And as it turned out, that's when I came to the Lord, was over at Prestaten.
Nice.
And
so rock and roll can't save. Rock and roll can't save.
Yeah.
Of course, with the hand of God.
Our last night there, the committee, the Prestaten Spring Harvest Committee came to our bungalow, and they have a lecture. They lectured us and told us how disappointed they were in us, and that we'd never come back again. And they were shocked that they learned that somebody in the band wasn't even a believer. And they never asked if I had a change of heart or anything like that. They just read us the riot act and kicked us out.
Wow.
And it was
a lot of judgmental circumstances back then.
Yeah. So. And we never, they never did ask us back.
Well, the fact that they were a little bit, on the overly strict side, kind of is a testament to the fact that they even brought a rock and roll band over there. Because like I said.
Yeah, right. I mean, that trip was for me. It was definitely for me.
Yeah. Powerful though, man. That's a powerful story, and I think that that again testament to the Lord's power and hand in one's life, and how transforming it can be. We've got about 15 seconds here, so we're going to basically prepare for this commercial break. It goes really quick, doesn't it, man? It goes quick.
It does. And thank you to all your sponsors, Pitbull and SIR and the people at the station.
Yeah. Great people. We're, trying to make a difference in this business for sure. This has been the Changing Stage radio show,
powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. We've been having Aaron A-Train Smith take over. Thanks to SIR at SIR-USA.com. They power drum sets for great players like Aaron when they're on tour. So we'll be right back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
To me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
That's right. We are in the third segment of the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. And I want to thank our fun friends, Jennifer and the crew over at California Music Studios. They provided us a home for quite some time for our sister show, Radio Band Diego, and they're just such tremendous people connecting kids predominantly, but also adults with the right teachers in Southern California. And we are back with Mr. Aaron A-Train Smith, and we're talking about what it was like to be on the road and get saved through touring in a rock and roll band, which doesn't usually happen very often. Pretty powerful stuff, and some of the challenges that they faced. There was kind of touching on the big movement with contemporary Christian, because I think that time really cemented, the things like Hillsong and other things to kind of come about. But I remember Amy Grant selling out Coliseum. Same thing with just so many great artists at that point that were coming out. Michael W. Smith was huge in the the 90s and stuff like that. How was that? Because you hear the stories that there were people that started going that direction just because it seemed like there was a viable market. Did you find that faith was consistent through most of the artists, or were there were the folks that like we recently had a guy who got San Diego Christian metal band, the guy I can't remember the name. I think Lamb of God. I can't remember the name, but anyway, he got he's went. I think he's going to jail for trying to kill his wife. Which
I heard about that.
Yeah, fortunately, they're saying
only God knows your heart, and your real intent.
Yeah.
So, but we were trying to cross over. That was the big thing, and the people at Warehouse really worked hard and did a lot of really good things for us to try to make that happen. And we would do showcases up there for Bill Graham, people from Island Records, and all sorts of record companies and agents and stuff. And we changed record labels a few times. We got with Island, and I think our Ireland record came out like a month and a half before Joshua Tree came out.
Oh, wow.
U2's Joshua Tree. And, man, it was so much interest, and we were so excited about that record coming out. And the right people at the record company seemed very excited about it.
And this was the 77s at that point, right?
Yeah, the 77s, yeah. But the moment U2's record came out, man, it's like we were forgotten. They just dropped the ball completely. And so, none of that stuff ever happened. It just, I suppose it just wasn't meant to ever happen,
Yeah,
we had the experiences we had, and now, with Facebook and everything, you find out that, you got all these fans and people who really love the record and still love the records and stuff like that, Prior to Facebook and Twitter and even MySpace, I kind of figured those records were gone, done, that was it. But I had a very interesting experience when I started going to this church here. A friend invited me to a church here in Nashville, and they have this men's study group on Thursdays called Theology for Breakfast.
Okay.
And I went to Theology for Breakfast, and I met this kid who was a pastor there. He was the youth pastor. And he found out I was he knew I was in the 77s. As soon as I showed up, he knew I had been in the 77s. And he just told me how much our music had helped him as a teenager, and and kind of pulled him out of drinking and hanging out with the wrong crowd and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And then sometime after that, I met his mother, and he brought her up to meet me one Sunday after church, and she just walked right over to me and hugged me and squeezed me, and she just thanked me and kept thanking me for being in the 77s, and she was going on about how much our music just helped her son and really helped their relationship, kind of ushering him through his teen years and stuff like that. And so, that's the better thing. That's better than getting a record deal and going on tour. All that stuff is better, to encourage people in their faith and
making a difference.
Really
in
make
lives.
a difference in their lives.
Yeah.
I prefer that over having a record deal. I've been in bands that had record deals, and they were miserable.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they didn't do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, it all works out.
I think so. You know, and I think kind of a testament to that. I think that the fact that you guys were pioneers and really bringing about this contemporary Christian sound that we knew. And in fact, you guys were really cutting edge with the sound. You were, right there.
Yeah, we played the music. You know, we didn't try to fit in any genre per se. We played the music that was near and dear to us. And one thing I liked about being in the 77s was I could interpret that music any way I wanted to. You know, I didn't have to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You could just be you.
Yeah, I could just be me, and everybody could just be themselves, and that was the great thing about it. But we were still listening to each other. You know, it wasn't so. It didn't alienate us, our talents and our musical gifts.
Yeah.
It just kind of really embellished them because it gave everybody the freedom to really explore and express themselves musically within the Christian intent.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
That makes sense.
It does. Well, for me, that's what drew me to Warehouse was that here was this church playing music that I listened to that wasn't church music. You know, at that point I'd been going to the Catholic Church and excuse me. You know, I have a cough button. I should have used it. Actually, I was sneeze. But and it spoke to me that at the Catholic Church, hearing a hymn, they got modern with like swing low, sweet chariot. That's about as modern as we got, man. And I hear this rock and roll music. I'm like, man, that's like the Clash. That's like U2. That's like they're speaking my language, and it did. It was very empowering to me, as a young Christian that was looking for something that I could relate to, and I think that's
we got banned from a lot of the Christian bookstores. So.
Yeah, that was the word about as I grew up into it, and that's what I was like. I said I used to pester Jan, like, how are you making this happen? Because he was like one of the heads over there at the label, and I was wanting to try to become a artist like that myself. So I definitely can relate. And you've been around. You've kind of went from northern Midwest down to to the Midwest of California, which would be Sacramento. It's because it's very non-LA, San Francisco-esque in its approach, especially back then. They would call it a cow town. Now you're in Nashville. How'd you get there? We got about 2 minutes, so talk about how you.
Well, I got to Nashville because Charlie Peacock got a record deal with Sparrow Records.
I remember that.
And and. So he left Exit, and he would hire me to come here and play on records.
Okay.
I played on Margaret Becker's records. I played on his records, Jimmy A's records. And so I was commuting back and forth for a while. And while I was here, there was a lot of talk about pop music moving to Nashville. A lot of people from L.A. were thinking about moving to Nashville, producers and studio people like that. And so it was like, well, I can't stay here in Sacramento anymore because, everything's going there. Everybody's going there to Nashville. So what am I going to do? And while here in Nashville, I started meeting other people, other Christian bands that weren't Southern California bands, Pretty much, I knew all the Southern California Christian musicians, but the other guys I didn't know, the ones that had the real quote unquote record deals, and so I decided to move here, and when you know it, country music became rock and roll.
You sure did, man. It's hard to tell the difference nowadays, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, country music became rock and roll and pop, actually.
Yeah.
But I had a great time here. I did records with Rich Mullins. I toured with Rich Mullins. I toured with the Ragamuffins. I toured with Michael W. Smith for a year.
All great stuff. Hey, Aaron, that music signifies that it's that commercial break. These things are timed.
Okay.
Wish we had, we could move them around a little bit, but they are here. This has been the Changing Stage Radio Show, powered by the Mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet talk radio. Want to give us a very special shout out to SIR Music Equipment Rental, because they were on tour with Aaron many times.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The WorldLink program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Whichwich.com.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Yeah, it's the 4th segment of the Changing Stage Radio Show, powered by the Mighty WS Radio Networks, and there's never enough time for Mr. Aaron A. Train Smith, because we are down to this last segment. It's going quick, man. We've been talking about, sticks in the Hall of Fame. We've been talking about getting saved on the road, which is very rarely happens, but, God is a God of mystery and excitement, and things happen where you least expect it. And we've been talking about moves and grooves across the country, and we're in Nashville now. We're with Charlie Peacock and Michael W. Smith, and you've been on tour, and you've had some great times in Nashville. It sounds like. What are you doing right now? What's on your plate now? We're getting up to the modern day.
Yeah, right now I'm playing in a band. It's contemporary jazz band. It's called Studio G. We play maybe twice a month. I'm playing at church every Sunday.
Oh, awesome.
I have a drum room down in the basement, so I play every day.
Now, that's a worship I'd like to go to for sure, man. I'd love to hear you just playing in church. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, they let me play. You know,
let's give a shout out to the church. Which church is it over there?
Community Bible Church.
Ah, okay.
And it's out in Brentwood.
Nice. You might have you might have a pilgrimage out there, man, to hear you play. Just to hear you play some.
Yeah, y'all come on out. Come on out. It's fun. It's very happening. We do hymns and some other contemporary Christian worship tunes, you know, but all done very tastefully and very musically, you know. We don't have flashing lights and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You won't see a show, but it'll be a great time of worship, promise.
Oh, I can only imagine, and I can imagine there's going to be a little funk in there. You know, you get that pocket groove going on. That is awesome.
Yeah. You know that goes with the package.
Yeah. Hey, are you still working with Charlie on a lot of stuff?
No, I'm not. I haven't worked with Charlie on stuff in a couple of years. You know, Charlie's a adjunct professor now at Lipscomb University.
Oh, I didn't know. I seen his album came out because him and Brent Bourgeois were chatting back and forth.
Yeah,
about
that. I did Brent Bourgeois' last record. Did a couple of tunes on that. That was year before last.
Yeah, he's an amazing talent as well. I just think that
he is.
It's kind of funny. I mean, I think he felt a lot of pushback from those days too as well. You know, being a guy who had hit records with Bourgeois Tag, and then having his own album that came out, and then he went and started working at the labels, the Christian labels, and then he was working with all these different players, and like what happened to you, he would work with some players that were not necessarily known as being saved, and he got a little pushback from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an interesting industry, but I think it's powerful how God uses you guys into impacting people's lives, like you mentioned, the young kid who was now a youth pastor coming up to you. Now, one thing we usually go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that there's another great thing I'm doing, and that's I volunteer at the Jazz Workshop here in Nashville.
Yeah.
On Tuesday nights, I play this beginning singing class. We have a great trio that supports all these people, young and old, who want to come in and learn how to sing jazz, learn stage presence, and all that sort of stuff. It's a great institution here. You can take theory classes, music history classes, ensemble classes, playing in various ensembles. It's just a great thing, and that pretty much is for me the musical thing that keeps me around this place is a place like the Jazz Workshop.
Awesome.
Because I don't know. I guess country is all right, but I have no desire to do a country tour or anything like that.
It's definitely got to be in there. I mean, there's great songs, there's great artists by all means, and you can, I'm gonna go against the grain and say that I actually really like Taylor Swift. I think she's a tremendous artist.
Yeah, I mean,
get the pushback from folks, but I think.
Yeah, well, that's good. My kids. One of who is listening to this program right now, my kids are really into country music. I don't know how that happened. Where did I go wrong?
Well, you know what, though? I think with contemporary Christian, there's a huge influence, obviously, coming out of Nashville with country sound, especially, sing-alongs. Campfire music has kind of been a big staple with Christian music, and it's kind of permeated through all the different flavors of Christian music outside of straight gospel, which is in itself, its own genre that spawned so many other ones. But I think that kind of comes like the Hillsong stuff and any of the stuff that's out right now. I think it has a lot of influence from Nashville. So you seem to be in the spot. I was just going to say you seem to always be in a spot that spawns the sound of Christianity, whether it be Sacramento or Nashville.
Right. Well, I hope there's a lot of Christianity coming out of Nashville now. I really do.
Well, people like you, it definitely comes out of. You've been a blessing. I can see, like the turnout from everybody's just been amazing. The responses that we've had for posts.
Cool. But there's one band I just got turned on to. They're called Animals as Leaders.
Okay, I have not heard of that band.
Oh, dude, you got to hear this band. I mean, that kind of stuff. Once you hear it, that kind of stuff really inspires me, and I go downstairs in the basement and I work on my chops, and they're like this carrot in front of me that this is possible. See if you can get half the way there. That's great. Just like Tony Williams was that to me.
Yeah.
Once I heard Tony Williams back in the 70s, I was going, you can do that? And then Tony led to Jack DeJohnette, Papa Joe Jones, Philly Joe Jones, and those sort of guys, I still listen to, and the new kids, the kids that are coming up now, they're playing some amazing stuff, and
they've learned from the icons like you, man. They've kind of stood on your shoulders and elevating the art. I really think that we've got a new, incredible crop of talent. Ever since before I started the radio show, I didn't think there were that many. But when you start doing this, you start seeing these amazing talents. I agree, man. They're coming up big time. So we've got about 30 seconds left, Aaron, in our show, man. It went too fast. Can you give a shout-out to some folks? I know you got Innovative Percussion that you're endorsed by.
Yeah, Innovative Percussion, man. Those guys are great. They're really good to me. All those guys over there, especially Henry Go. Let's see, Cornelius Grant. Yeah, musical director.
Yeah.
The Temptations. Here lately, due to Facebook, I've been able to stay in contact with him. And people over at Pearl Drums, they've been helpful too. I'd like to say hello to them and thank you to them.
Aaron, we're down to the last seconds, man. Well, I want to thank you, brother, for taking 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon. Really appreciate Changing Stage Radio Show. See you next time.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.